For the past year, the Real Estate Board of New York and the development community have been vigorously attacking the Landmarks Law and pushing to remove community involvement from all land use decisions through deregulation. Do you feel they are correct, and is this a worthwhile position?
Is it a worthwhile? Say that again?
Well, how do you feel about this? Basically, do you feel if they are correct and if it's a worthwhile?
First one is absolutely no, they are not. I think that we've seen REBNY, the Real Estate Board of New York, rear its ugly head in this neighborhood far too often. Them and their corporate lobbyists are spending millions of dollars across this city in hopes of electing, I would say, pro-development and its pro-overdevelopment candidates that are going to threaten the character of our neighborhood and our quality of life. REBNY is one of the biggest impediments to us being able to maintain the quality of life that we have come to enjoy. The process of which you were talking about, no, I do not think that REBNY is correct in that. I don't think that they should have any hand whatsoever in what's happening in our neighborhoods. These are neighborhoods that we built, and they certainly shouldn't be allowed to be taken over by multi-millionaire developers and well-connected corporate lobbyists who are looking to continue their hegemonic rule over the entire city. I mentioned it before, we've seen that through tax breaks, we've seen that through maneuvers to get around the ULURP process. Anything that REBNY has been supportive seems to have come at our detriment, and I think that it's time we got them and their influence out of our neighborhoods.
My answer would be absolutely not. Cutting the community out of any process that involves your community is a very, very bad decision. Again, we live here, we pay taxes here, we raise our children here. I think that one of the reasons that I am actually running for city council is because I believe my life experience and being raised in the community and being civically involved, we know our neighborhoods best. People work with people. People buy from people. The minute you give up control of your real estate, your land, the right to have a voice, it's the demise of what we call the communities that we love. So my answer to that is absolutely not. I think we have to work in partnership. I do believe, ladies and gentlemen, that there should be some negotiation, and sometimes when you're faced with difficult and challenging decisions, I believe very much in compromise. I don't believe in one party walking away from a table all too happy, because that means the other side definitely lost. So I believe in working together, compromising, and making decisions that are going to have the best effect for ourselves, for our children, and for future generations.
The real estate board proposals actually seem to fall into, to me, two very distinct categories. One category does seem to at least threaten to really gut the Landmarks Preservation Commission and the Landmarks Law, tying landmarking to vague definitions of economic viability, that is, asking that landmarking be balanced against the so-called economic viability of the property. I think that is something that really has to be fought. But at the risk of provoking some controversy, there are several other proposals there, and they were sponsored, I believe most of them by Councilman Comrie, African-American from Southeast Queens, that really make a lot, it just seem like common sense. It seemed like common sense to deal with the concerns of middle and even working class homeowners who are now having to deal with landmarking. One is simply, it says that you may replace, say a roof or whatever or something with the same material that you're replacing. And I always thought that's what landmarking was about. That's what preservation was about. And apparently, you have in some of the new landmark districts that take in minority homeowners, take in lower income, working class homeowners, they're being told, oh no, you have to spend money that you don't have to upgrade. And that's a problem, you know, even in our so-called more affluent communities like Douglaston. This just seems to me like simple common sense, and I would suggest in all respect to the preservation community, and I share your goals, I share your support for landmarking, when you take that absolutist position and you impose it on homeowners who are between a rock and a hard place, you're not gaining support for our cause. You're just driving people into the arms of revenue. So I think with Chrissy, some compromise is called for here, and maybe some of those bills should pass, and then let's fight the others.
As the only person who's running for city council who actually attended the hearings and spent 6 hours sitting at the hearings and actually participated in the hearings, I can tell you that the reason that the hearings went nowhere last year was the unbelievable opposition from every corner of the community of New York City. The bill that Dennis is talking about actually is, it is a problem because the goal of landmarking is to not just preserve your neighborhood, but to restore your neighborhood. So while, and just to let you know, anybody who has an economic hardship can appeal to the Landmarks Commission, and they are sometimes quite successful, saying we do not have the financing, and oftentimes the staff will come to a compromise position to help them. But that's not what we're talking about here. Addisley Park is a very high-income area, and they don't have problems in terms of restoring those buildings, which is in Councilman Commer's district. The one thing I do want to say is that, you know, the elephant in the room is that we have someone missing from this panel, and he has been endorsed by Revenue, and they are giving him $300,000 in this race. You've probably gotten mailers from him that say Jobs for New York. That's their fake political action committee run by the Real Estate Board of New York, okay? That should tell you everything you want to know. Thank you.
I will be relentless in my opposition to what the Real Estate Board and the wealthy developers are trying to do to subvert the historic district movement. I will not just be a vote, I will be a forceful advocate to make sure that they don't subvert democracy. The fact that they're pumping money into city council races across the city to try to gain control of the city council, to make it a pro-development governmental body, is really nothing short of treasonous. And I will fight with every bone in my body to make sure that they are unsuccessful at every turn in trying to subvert the historic council movement in this district and across New York City. And one other thing I want to say. When developers in the city reach an agreement, as they did at Willis Point, for example, what do we see happen? The developers do what they want to do, and the city doesn't enforce. So at Willis Point, the commercial space is developing, the luxury housing is developing, but not the affordable housing. And the city's not doing anything to enforce the contract. So if I'm on the city council, I will make sure the city enforces its contract with developers to make them live up to what they promised to do when they get the right to develop. Thanks.
Great, thank you.